Hi friends, I'm excited to be here with you today to share a new process video. I am going to be using the April Hip Kit Club kits along with the October 2022 color kit. So this stamp was in the October 2022 kits. That's called the Floral Cluster stamp, and it is a gorgeous stamp. So what I am doing with it is I am actually using black archival ink. So I pulled this ink out of my stash because I knew I would be painting and watercoloring the stamp. I wanted to make sure that the black ink was not going to bleed or move around with water. So one of the things that I actually love about the Catherine Pooler inks is that they are very water reactive. So if I would have stamped the black image with that water reactive ink, when I went to add some of the watercolor, it would have all bled together. So that was the purpose of me using a permanent archival ink, because you add water to it, like right here, what I'm doing, and it doesn't move, it doesn't bleed, it stays exactly where I stamped it. So you saw me using stencils. So these are also from the October color kit, and it's the Floral Cluster layered stencil. So these stencils are amazing for helping you isolate what you're wanting to color and embellish on the stamp. So here you can use an ink blending tool, which is what I do sometimes, but here with these Catherine Pooler ink pads, the size that they are, they're perfect for just adding the color right on top. So the great thing you can see about the stamp or about the stencil is that I can get that ink exactly where I want it to go, and it doesn't go on any other parts of that image. So I'm only coloring the parts that are showing with the stencil, and these stencils make it really super easy to add all that color to the image. And then I did go back and add a little bit of water just because I wanted some of the areas to look, a little more watercolored and not so perfect. So I just added I blotted my ink pad on an acrylic block over there, and then I'm just using a paintbrush with some water to add some more things to it. So here I'm going to do the same thing again. Use the ink pad to add that color. And again, you can use an ink blending tool if you have them. I've got a bunch of them, but didn't want to use them on this because it was just so simple to use that ink pad. And then I also have a metal die, so you're going to see here in a minute. So I've got a metal die that was also from October. It was from the October release, and it's the Floral Cluster metal die, and it's going to cut out these images perfectly. So I'm super excited about this. So here's the metal die, and I'm going to lay it down so you can see how well it fits that shape or that image. And I did cut the images out before I ran them through my cutter, just so that they didn't move around, and I was able to tape them down really well. So there's those images cut out. And then here I created, just on a piece of white mixed media cardstock, I used those ink pads, and I thought I had that on camera and I just can't find the video. So you can see me doing part of it here. So what I did is I just took the ink pad and I drug it across the page. Really easy, super simple technique to add a bunch of color. And then now I'm going back with a paintbrush and a little bit more ink that I blotted over on the side, you can see, and I'm adding a little bit of water too, just to kind of to blend those edges where the ink pad, like where I put it down and where I stopped it. I didn't want it to look real square on all of those edges, so I'm just going and using a little bit of water to make them look a little bit messier. And with these inks on like a watercolor paper or a mixed media paper, they're very reactive for a long time. So you can go back and add water even after they've dried, they will still have some reaction. Okay, so this metal die that I used with the image that I had stamped also fits perfectly on one of the patterned papers from the April kit, which is really cool. So there was a patterned paper in the October kit, and then also one in the April kit that has those perfectly shaped flowers for that metal die to cut out. And that made it super simple, because if you know my style, you know I love to cut out fussy cut patterned paper, and that made it really super simple and fast. So I'm going to be using my stamped image along with the patterned paper image that I cut to create some floral clusters. But first I'm using one of those black and white patterned papers from the April kit. I kind of wanted to break up, so I've got a bunch of color going on. I kind of wanted to break up a little bit of that color with the black and white patterned paper. And then I'm gonna layer some more color on top. So I also love this kind of rainbow, kind of zigzag lined paper from that April kit, the main kit. So I did tear them, and then I also used my Tim Holtz Edge Distresser to rough them up a little bit more. And I'm just layering those flat together. And here I did put it down with the blues and greens at the top, and then you're gonna see off camera I do realize that I put it down going the wrong way, because I wanted the colors to match. Like I wanted the oranges and yellows where I have them on the background to match that pattern paper. So I do end up going back and tearing off that middle paper and fixing it. So here I'm using another one of the great pattern papers. There it's fixed. Now you can see with the magic of video, you can see that it's fixed and the colors line up a little bit better. All right. So here I've got 2 photos. This is a layout from, still working through our Jamaica trip from last summer. So I've got 2 sweet photos. This was actually our last day in Jamaica, but I'm kind of working all over on this trip. Usually I scrapbook vacations in order, but I don't know what's going on with me. I'm like, we scrapbook the last day before I've done a lot of the middle days, but I loved these photos and I just wanted to scrap them. So here, and then I also loved on that top photo, that greenish, yellowish grass in the background. I loved how that looked, or in my mind, and then on the final layout too. I love how that looked with that mixed media in the background. So that green, yellowish, greenish color in the photo just kind of bleeds over into the mixed media on the background, and I love how that looked. And then same thing down there in that bottom photo with my sweet boy's shirt. He's wearing blue, and I liked how that looked on that blue section. So of patterned paper. So there we go. And then now I've taken the stamped image that I created and watercolored, and then also that patterned paper one, and I've layered them top left to bottom right. And then now I'm pulling out some fabric flowers. These are fantastic. I love these flowers from the April kits. And then one little trick here that I'm doing, so you can see it looks like I'm cutting that fabric flower. So with my flowers, whenever I have a flat, like either a paper or a fabric flower where all of the petals are attached, it's hard to bend them up and make them look like they're coming off the page. So I just add little snippets in between the petals. And you can't even really tell that it wasn't like that to start with. So I just snip it, careful not to go through the middle, because I want the middle to be solid. I just snip it, and then I'm able to bend up all of those petals. And I love how that looks. I did that on several of the flowers. And then I did pull out some ephemera. So that top one says Happy Heart, and I popped that up on craft foam. And then I have another little phrase there in the close-up. You'll be able to see what it says, that I put on top of that photo up there, and then that orange heart. And now I'm using the chipboard frames. All of the rest of this stuff is from the April hip kits. So using this chipboard frame just to kind of frame out that corner, just to add another little detail there. I'm loving how that looks. And then I did off camera go and add just some little pops of color to the middle of the flowers from my stash. And then these Nuvo drops are from, I think, the November color kit. So I'm adding those around the cluster, and they will dry very silvery and glittery and shiny. So I love how those look as well. And the close-ups here, they look, you can't really tell that they're glittery, but you can in the final photos. So I hope you have enjoyed the process. If you did, you can go ahead and tap the bell for notifications and give the video a like. And also, if you have any questions, you can go ahead and pop those down below in the comments, and I will be sure to come back and answer any of those questions. And then I have links to the kits and the blog and everything also in the comments. So I hope you guys have an awesome day, and thanks for watching. Bye for now.